Hey everybody, I'm That One Guy, and I wanted to create a series of videos to go over the Weakauras I've created. The whole purpose of the Weakauras is obviously to help you better understand your spec and hopefully help you play better as a result, but also to gamify the game. Because WoW does present you with some spell alerts for the specs you play, but not all. And so that leaves you looking for ways to identify if a certain buff or debuff is active. And that's where Weakauras can come in play. And I wanted to do more than just have an icon with a timer in it, right? I wanted to try to present you with visual effects that make it feel more like a video game and immerse you more into the spec you're playing. At least that's the idea. So in these videos, I'm going to go over the Weakauras I've created, how I intend for them to work, and show you how you can modify them if you'd like. So whether you've already found my Weakauras, or you're looking for some for a certain spec, or you just want to have a better idea of how Weakauras work in general, hopefully these videos will help you with that. Hey Prot Warriors, so I tried something new and something different for Prot in terms of like how factions go, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. So I think it's cool. Maybe you'll think it's cool, and maybe I'll have to do that for some other specs as well. But as far as tanks go, it's kind of in an interesting spot where there aren't really a lot of buttons, but there also then are a lot of buttons. There could be a lot of cooldowns that you have to manage and things like that. And I'm all for making tanking specializations easier. I wouldn't know where to start with this one though. Like I said, not a lot of buttons, but then there are a lot of buttons all at the same time. But it's pretty fun to play. That's what I'm learning about all these specs as I make Weakauras for them. They're all pretty fun to play, especially when you can get them right. So for Prot, all right, this would be everything on your screen. Maybe some of it you can guess. Some of it does look familiar if you have already seen Arms or Fury, right? These Thunderous Roar, Champion Spear, and Ravager. This one does not have Bladestorm. But we'll go through all of them little by little, and I'll explain the thing that I said about the factions, which maybe you're noticing it's a little faded right now. So, Prot, come back at the end to do the hero talents. Your avatar CD, when there's 10 seconds or less left on avatar, that'll pop up and obviously count down, and then when it's off CD, it'll just be sitting on your screen like that. Shield block. Okay, this is where I went with the factions, right? So starting off with that. There is one for Alliance and one for Horde, and it'll load depending on the faction that you are. You can't really see it right now because of a condition I set where if you don't have enough rage to cast shield block, the symbol is faded, right? So the same would be true for Horde or Alliance, right? See, they kind of look, you can see the how one's for the other. And then the circle going around it is the shield block buff. And then also what it'll do, so it's not just like permanently on your screen, is when you have a charge available but the buff is active, it's just gonna fade it out more. We can change how much it is or is not faded, but basically when you have it available, you'll still see it but faintly, so it's not just like staring you in the face the whole time. And where you'd go to mess with that in Horde or Alliance or both is in conditions. It's this fourth condition right here, basically saying, hey, if the buff is active, put it at 40% opacity, right? So it's almost not necessarily invisible, but it makes it fainter, so it's not as in your face. If you want to change that, turn it up, turn it down, this is where you do that. And with everything, before I keep going, to get rid of something if you don't like it, you right click, delete children and group. If you're not sure if you don't like it but you don't want to see it, you go to the load tab and check the never box. With most everything, you can go to the group tab, position and size settings, and move it. If it doesn't have a plus sign, that means it's not a group, like these are just individual things, and then there won't be a group tab, and you'll just adjust the positions in the display tab is where you do X and Y offset. With groups, it's a little easier to resize them because you can do group scale up or down, right? For individual things, you have to go into the display tab and adjust width and height to your liking. And then this is also where you would see color. So if you want to change the color of something, it would be in the display tab and the color. The reason it looks like that is because in this group is things of a variety of colors, so you can't just change them all at the same time. But that is how that works. As with everything, nothing is interconnected. You can delete, move, change things inside this group, and it's not going to mess with anything else in the pack. So that's what I did. You'll see it in combat, but that's what I did for like the faction thing. Horde has a Horde emblem on their shield, and Alliance characters have an Alliance emblem on their shield. Moving on to Demoralizing Shout. right? Horde or Alliance looks like that because that's what the icon looks like. If you want it to be a human screaming, well, we'd have to work on changing it. But when you have Demoralizing Shout off cooldown, it'll appear like that, just pop up on your screen. It does look like, especially if you're taking Booming Voice, that you would use it mostly on cooldown. I try not to have stuff appear on your screen if it's not going to be something that you kind of push rotationally. So usually it's just combat alerts, whereas like your defensives and things like that, they can be situational depending on if you need them or not. So I just don't want them taking up screen real estate the whole time. But I know with tanks it is important, so I'll probably have to add some stuff. Just always tell me in the comments, right? Violent Outburst, when you have that procced, right? When you've spent enough rage to have Violent Outburst, this will appear on your screen. And then Champion Spear will actually be tucked inside here. It's just that if you have Thunderous Roar taken and Champion Spear, which I think you'd rarely do, it's set up so that you can see both of them. So that's why here in the Weakauras it looks like it's spaced out, but actually Champion Spear will be right there, if that matters. Ravager looks just like the same thing for Ravager and Bladestorm on Fury and Arms, so a lot of similarity between these things. Makes it a little easier to create stuff when you already have most of it done. Then you've got Ignore Pain. So this is the progress timer for Ignore Pain. When there's less than 4 seconds, there'll be a little red glow around it, and this number in the middle is that stacks indicator that's really indicating the percentage, because it goes up to, on the little icon in your buffs, it goes up to 100 or 100%, meaning you're at the maximum absorb, and that's what this number indicates too. Not the amount of damage you can take, but if your Ignore Pain has reached its cap, right? Basically telling you if it's either at 100, you shouldn't add any more Ignore Pains unless it's to refresh the duration of the timer, or where it is in terms of the percentage. It'd be easier to see on something that'll damage you. But anyways, that's what that number is. It's not the amount of the absorb or the DR reduction of it. It is that stacks number on the icon indicating what percentage of the cap you are at with your Ignore Pain. Thunderclap is just this icon right here. I noticed there was a bit of theme here with Prot where they had the little icon for Shield Slam resets there, and then your free revenges right there. So I kind of tried to keep with that, and that, you know, Thunderclap and Shield Slam are the two things that are generating your rage. They kind of seem like they go together. And then Shield Charge is the thing that can give you your revenge, right? Your free revenges. So that's why it's over there. So instead of things that are, you know, on the same on both sides, I tried to match what Prot displays were already doing, and it's only going to show on one side or the other depending on what it goes with. So that's what this icon would be. You'd see that if Shield Charge is available, right, which would give you your revenge, and then Thunderclap and Shield Slam, right? If Thunderclap is off CD, that shows up, and Shield Slam does two things. One, it's for the resets, but also if it's just available to cast. So as opposed to just knowing it got reset, basically anytime you see that icon, you can press Shield Slam. And then your Rage and a cast bar for all the casting that warriors do. The only other stuff would be Colossus. This icon, again, if you saw Arms, Colossus, right, sits right there. When it's off cooldown, you'll see that button, that icon there, letting you know you can use Demolish, and then Colossal Might. What this does is it goes up to 10, and then when it's at 10, the icons get a little bigger and turn white, just to make it more obvious that you're at max stacks of that. If you're not in Colossus, that means you're in Mountain Thane, and those are your charges of Thunderblast, right? So if it's white, that would mean you have the charges but can't use them because Thunderclap is on cooldown, right? But this would be everything that you would see as a Prot Warrior. You can see what I mean by it can be a lot, right? For all the different things you'd have to track just offensively. But let's just show it in combat. I'll do the Colossus hero talents and the Mountain Thane hero talents and just kind of show you kind of what it looks like. I'm not going to play it perfectly or great. I'm just going to try to do my best. So don't critique me or think it's a guide. But you can critique my Weakauras and leave me comments and feedback there. So as soon as you enter combat, this is everything. This is what I mean by the faded symbol for your faction that you're in. As soon as you have enough rage, it would fill, right? So let's just, for example, go back out of here. We'll charge in and use Avatar, right? Challenging Shout, Champion Spear, Ravager, right? All those cooldowns are gone, and you saw that shield block, right, popped up. And when you use it, it's faded because the buff is active, right? But we still have a charge. As soon as the buff is gone, one, the circle's gone, but two, now it's no longer faded. It's visible again. And the other thing you're probably noticing is that it changes colors. That's how I'm indicating one charge or two. This is two charges, right? And when, I'm just gonna make the buff go away, you can see, when it's at one charge, the background is black instead of that shield color, that silver gray. Shield slam, thunderclap, shield charge, your free revenges. That's it. If you use demolish, challenge shouts back, right? If you build up enough of your colossal mites to get to 10 stacks, then you can see those turn white as well, and I will attempt. And then, ignore pain. So 42% essentially near the cap, and then use it again, right? It's 87. So that's just letting you know how close to the cap you are of your ignore pain. And then when you're at 100, you cannot, get any more value out of it. And obviously, as you're taking damage, that number would go down. This is your violent outburst, which you could use, and we did. Avatar's back up. All right, your shield block, shield charge, free revenge. Ignore pain, it glows red when there's less than 4 seconds. All your cooldowns coming right back up, right? So there can be a lot to juggle, a lot to manage, and I'm just kind of going slowly through the things. And I just want to get, there we go. When you have 10 stacks of Colossal Might, that is when it glows, it turns white and gets a little bigger. But that's kind of the base stuff. And again, the little faction thing right there, it changes if you're alliance. My prod character, my warrior, happens to be an orc because I thought that was kind of cool thematically. So that's why you don't see this one. But it would do the same if you're an alliance character. It would just be blue with the the alliance lion in there, and then its color for being on one charge is like it's a gold. It's a little kind of goldish yellow instead of just the shield color. But that was something new that I tried. I think it's kind of neat. I think it's kind of cool. But that would be it as far as stuff with Colossus specific goes. Let's try to look at Mountain Thane. All right, for Mountain Thane, it's more of the same. More of the Thane? More of the same. Oh, that's fun. All the same cooldowns and indicators, with the one exception being that you will now have your Thunder Blast charges pop up, and you see there's one. And if I try to have two of them, so you can see when it's on cooldown, so you'll have two indicators of your Thunderclap cooldown. When it's on cooldown, it shows you that you do still have a charge, but you just can't use it, right? Because it's on cooldown, so it'd be white. It's easy to see when you have two, but if you ever have two charges of that Thunder Blast and it turns white, as I keep pushing my character paint button, and it pops up, that's why, right? It's just letting you know, like, you do have a charge, you just can't use it right now, so sorry. So that's it as far as the Weakauras and stuff go. If I've left anything off that you feel like absolutely needs to be included, I'm always happy to modify and make improvements for the people that are using these. Just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you like it and have fun. Again, I hope you found that helpful. I do intend to make a Weakura pack for every spec. So if I haven't made one for the spec that you play or that you'd like to see, just comment that down below. Again, I do intend to make one for every spec, but if I see people asking for it or really wanting one, I'll probably get to it quicker than if I just do it on my slow, leisurely pace. I hope it will enhance your gameplay. Like I said, it's all about gamifying the game and making it more fun and more immersive for you, while also helping you improve as a player, because the information that you need to react to is hopefully more readily available. If you have any other questions about this Weakura pack that you just watched or any other ones, again, please feel free to comment. I try to be as interactive as possible in my YouTube section. And that's it. I hope you have a great day.